Well, today it's going to be a program about education, care for education, the love of education, with our special guest, Dr. Barbara Anderson, today on The Bernie Hayes Show. And good morning, Dr. Anderson. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you for asking.
So your whole life has been mostly education, has it not?
My whole life has been education.
Tell us about your life.
Well, I'm born and raised here in St. Louis. I've come all the way through St. Louis Public Schools from the kindergarten to high school. Went to Harris Teachers College for my BA. Went to Webster University for a Master of Arts in Teaching. I'm a certificated master teacher.
Okay.
I have a Master in Leadership Administration from St. Louis University, and I have a doctorate in education from St. Louis University. I've taught every grade level from kindergarten to the university level, and I've enjoyed every minute of it.
Well, you're a former principal too, right?
I am.
Tell us about that.
I retired from Lexington Elementary. It was a wild ride. It was so much fun. Being in that environment, we had a culture that was positive, it was enthusiastic, and the teachers felt that they were in a safe and nurturing environment. I let them know that I admired and respected their expertise. I always said to them, nobody died, it made me God. Wow. So if you have an idea that you want to throw around to us, let's do that. And we did that in faculty meetings quite often. Mm-hmm. And we tried some rather unusual educational practices, such as, what I call flexible classrooms. If a fifth grader is reading on a second grade level, we send him down or her down to be a teacher assistant to help with the other children. Wow. And what we found is that children who had been left behind were the ones who were going to disturb the class. Mm-hmm. And when we put them in charge of other children to help them learn to read or to do math, their grades went up. And it
built up self-esteem.
It built up their self-esteem. Right. And most of them, when we did that with them, I'm not going to say the results were immediate, but we saw visible improvement, marked improvement. And with a full supportive staff, I'm not going to say it was an easy job to do. It was a fun job to do. Wow. It was challenging, but it was fun.
That's great.
We got involved in the community, and we just had a good time learning. Many parents chose my school on their own. They said, I want my child to attend this school. And I said, okay.
Where was it located? Lexington.
Lexington and 5030 Lexington is always the address I give. Mm-hmm. I can't remember the other street.
Okay, but it's close to, was it Kings Highway?
Right behind Kings Highway.
Yeah, sure. Mm-hmm.
Right.
I spoke at Lexington a couple of times.
Yes, you did.
Nita Harris?
Yes.
Yeah. Her class, and I was so amazed. They knew every word, every verse, every stanza to lift every voice and sing.
That's her claim to fame. The children always performed and performed well.
And it was just amazing to me. And I talked about that for years. I still talk about it. Yeah.
Well, you know what? I always say that a student never knows that he can't do something until you tell them. If you expect the best out of students, they'll give it to you. Mm-hmm.
How do you assess the St. Louis public schools and charter schools and education in general at this point in time?
The thing that makes me sad is that parents and students feel as though they have to leave their community in order to be successful. That's sad, and it has to stop. I always put in a cheerleading shout for community schools, neighborhood schools. When you tell children that they're not going to be successful in their own communities, what they do is leave. And when the children do remain in their communities, they still tend to, once they get a certain level of economic comfort, they leave. And that destroys our communities, and it tears down our schools. There's no point in saying anything negative about charter schools. They're here, and they're going to be here. Our job is to make sure that parents and students want to attend St. Louis Public Schools.
And you've done something on your own to make sure that's going to be better, right?
Yes, I have.
What are you going to do?
I'm running for the elected Board of Education.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And one of my goals is to make sure that every single child has every single thing that they need, and to make sure that we are giving the right guidance for our teachers to not only have leadership, but to teach leadership to their children.
So you're that passionate about it?
I'm passionate.
Okay. But what got you involved? Have you ever run for office before?
No.
But it's okay.
I've never run for office before, but I've always been passionate about education. My mom says that when I was a little girl, I used to play school more than I played jump rope.
Really?
So I've always wanted to be a teacher, always.
This is great. So how can one reach you and support you?
We don't have our website up today, but
you have
that
a phone
should be.
number, right?
I have a phone number, and the phone number is 381-8076.
That's area code 314?
Area code 314. That is a landline. That is not a cell.
Okay, so repeat it for me.
314-381-8076.
This is great. So Dr. Anderson, what do you hope to change if you're elected, when you're elected to the school board?
It's not that I believe in going in and changing things. I believe that we go in to enhance what is already there. What bothers me is that we're losing large numbers of students to charters, private, parochial schools, and we lose quite a few numbers of our just our normal kids who wanted to go to another district. And I think we need to change that.
Okay.
And I'm not saying anyone has done anything wrong. I'm saying that we need to enhance and build up the possibilities for our parents and students to choose St. Louis Public Schools. That's what I want to do.
A dear friend of mine, Louis Cross, he really, really supports you. I mean, he's talking about what a good thing you've done. And my wife used to work with you.
Oh,
you know,
yes.
Yeah, UB Hayes. And everybody I've heard, Dr. Anderson, is nothing but wonderful, superb things.
Well, that's nice to hear, but it's not Barbara Anderson. It's Lexington Elementary. The entire staff.
Okay. That's so gracious of you.
No, that's the truth. I can't do anything alone, and neither can they. So we have to work together. And again, one of the things that made us a little different was that we were willing to talk about things. If we didn't like the way the children were passing in the hall, we worked on that. We worked on it quite a bit. The emphasis in our school was reading. So we always had things on our bulletin boards and throughout the school that emphasized that fact.
This is great. This is wonderful. And I assume that's why Lexington School and you and your staff at Lexington got so many high marks in the district and even around the country and across the world. That the people knew about Lexington School in Chicago and Detroit and Memphis, you know. And then I guess that's a tribute to you and the people.
The staff.
Okay.
That's a we.
Yeah, that's a we. So when is the election?
April 2nd.
That's in the city of St. Louis.
In the city of St. Louis.
Okay, so
and we don't have a primary because the elected board members, you just go through the system once.
Okay.
And whoever gets the most votes wins.
But they have to be registered by a certain date.
They have to be. I am sorry, I don't know that date.
Okay, but
I'm pretty sure it's passed.
Yeah. Okay, but those who are registered can
vote.
Cast that vote.
Yes.
And it's for the St. Louis elected school board.
Elected
and that's
school
the
board.
difference between the appointed school board and the elected school board. So
Yes.
you're running for the elected school board.
Elected school board.
Okay, okay. Why should they vote for you?
Because I'm going to get the job done.
Okay.
People who know me and know me well they've often whispered in my ear, the only thing that we don't want to get between you is between you and another student. We don't want to get between you and another student. We'll lose.
I understand that your faith plays a great deal in your daily life and activities.
Well, I always had a strong faith, and I do believe that all things are possible through my Creator. And my Creator,
the Creator
gives me the strength and the faith to push on, even in the face of adversity.
Yeah. See, a lot of people don't realize that God can be a he or she. You know, and a lot of folks oftentimes don't.
I don't think he's gender specific. I really
not
don't.
Gender specific whatsoever. This is great. And so the election is April the 2nd. April the 2nd. That's a Tuesday. Okay. Well, Dr. Barbara Anderson, it's a pleasure talking to you, but we'll be right back. We're going to take a short break here. And I guess everybody can see the wonderful mugs on the table here. This is the Bernie Hayes Show mug. This is the Harris Stowe State University Stowe mug where you graduated. And this is the Webster University where you also have an affiliation. And we both have. I'm at Harris Stowe. I'm at Webster. And but if you like the Bernie Hayes mug and this book by Dr. Larry Rice, Reverend Larry Rice, it's called Through the Fire, How St. Louis Gentrifiers Tried to Destroy a Church Because of its Homeless Congregation, you may have them. It's easy to get. And here's Reverend Larry Rice to tell you how you can.
For many years, Bernie Hayes has been on the front lines leading the charge for social justice. It's been a great privilege of mine to get to know Bernie personally, and I want us, in celebration of all that Bernie has done, to share with you one of these very special Bernie Hayes mugs and a copy of a book, Through the Fires, which tells you about the battle for social justice at 1411 Locust, where gentrifiers came into the neighborhood and literally shut down the church at the New Life Evangelistic Center at 1411 Locust Street because they didn't want those kind of people in the neighborhood. Direct bigotry. Now, if you'll request this mug and share a gift of $25 or more, we'll send you this book, 328 pages that go into great detail on all the manipulating behind the scenes and on the scenes that took place in order for the city of St. Louis to consider it a nuisance because there were hurting and homeless people in the neighborhood. We would love to see a beloved community that when development takes place in a community, instead of the poor and the elderly and the homeless being pushed out, it's a beloved community that welcomes people from all over, regardless of their racial background or who they might be. They're people made in the image of God. Bernie Hayes has fought for that for years. And now we're teaming up with Bernie in a very special and powerful way. If you'll just call in R421302, or you can send your special gift and just say, please send me the Bernie Hayes mug. We will include in that Through the Fire, historical book that I've written on how the St. Louis gentrifiers tried to destroy a church because of its homeless congregations. You know, there's a common saying that if your neighbor's house on fire, yours in danger also. The bigotry, the hypocrisy in the city of St. Louis affects all of us. I thank God for Bernie, who has continued to point it out and root it out. Now we're teaming up with Bernie. When you request the Bernie Hayes mug and share a gift of $25 or more to New Life Evangelistic Center, I'll include my book, Through the Fire. We'd love to hear from you. Share now, P.O. Box 473, St. Louis, Missouri.
And welcome back. My guest is Dr. Barbara Anderson. She's a candidate for the elected school board here in the city of St. Louis. And Dr. Anderson, I'd like to give you this book, present this book to you from Reverend Larry Rice.
Thank you.
Through the Fire. And I think you'll find a lot to tell you about New Life Evangelistic Center and what he's been doing and the future of the center too. Okay. And where we are located right here, 2428 in Overland on Woodson Road. Dr. Anderson, the education has been, like I said, a great part of your life. What got you on the path to the higher and advanced degrees? I mean, you could have easily dropped out of high school, you could have dropped out of college, you could have dropped out of, you didn't have to get all these advanced education that you did. Why? What motivated you?
Let me be perfectly honest.
Okay.
In my household, and in the household I grew up in, there were no options.
No options.
You go to school,
okay,
and that's it. This is not a discussion.
But you have masters.
I started out as a elementary school. Actually, I started out as a middle school teacher and then dropped back to elementary. But as I went on through the years as a classroom teacher, I saw that I was having pretty positive effects on my students. And I said, okay, why don't I expand my effective population? And I went into administration on the level of instructional coordinator, or was it literacy coach? I can't remember. We changed names every year. So I affected that population. And then I wanted to go on and affect a whole school under my leadership, and I became a principal. After I became a principal, I actually retired in 2012.
Let me interrupt you. You became a principal.
Yes.
Now that took some degree of education and study itself, just to reach that level. Tell us about that,
3 degrees.
And then we'll go to the other steps. But tell us about the steps it took you to become a principal.
Well, first you have to have your master's in leadership administration. I believe it's called at St. Louis University. And then, of course, I had the years of experience in the classroom and the years of experience as a school leader, as the instructional coordinator. And so I said, okay, now it's time for me to take the next step and see if I can lead a school. As a matter of fact, Floyd Cruz, who interviewed me, asked me one thing. He said, Mrs. Anderson, I need for you to tell me one thing. Can you bring a staff together to work collegially? And I said, I sure can. And we did. We had a staff that was so great and so involved in what they were doing, but it was because I respected their expertise.
Okay, that's
I
great.
never lorded anything over them. There were a couple of teachers on my staff who had doctorates before I did. And I was pretty much a baby. But the thing is, I wanted to influence a group of educators. Some of us don't want to be bothered with the administrative part.
Right.
And I worked really well with those kinds of teachers because they were leaders, they knew what they were doing, and they taught the children well.
Great. Okay, the next strata now. You've become the principal. I mean, you got that the doctorate, become a principal. So continue. There's other degrees that you acquired.
No, the doctorate's the last one. I'm through. But one of the
Becoming a
things,
principal, then don't to the doctorate.
Okay, then I got the doctorate as a principal, and when I retired, I decided, okay, I'm used to rolling, I'm used to running, and so I took a consultancy job with the district to help other principals.
St. Louis District.
In the St. Louis District.
Okay.
And after that, I took another consultancy job in Jennings to, again, help the principal.
Sure.
My new role I would like to be is a leader for principals so that principals can learn to make decisions for their own unique and special populations. That's that.
Dr. Anderson, so many people have given up on African American youth. But I see you have not. Tell us about that.
I won't because I'm one.
Okay.
I walked in their shoes.
Sure. Okay.
And I know what it's like to be, I don't want to say the word denigrated, but I do know what it's like not to be respected. Let's put it that way. And being a female also caused just a couple of problems. There are some people who still feel like the woman's place is in the home and in the kitchen having babies. Not today.
Okay. What difficulties do you have just in what you described in attaining your achievements? Just by being an African-American female especially.
Many times African American females want to do things that are outside the grid, things that are unusual, things that are being tested for the first time, and many traditionalists don't care for that. We have a certain way that we do things, and we want you to continue doing things that way. Well, that may work at McKinley, but maybe not at Ashland. And principals need to have that autonomy, and staffs need to feel safe and nurtured enough to make the kinds of educational decisions they need to make for their own populations. I realize that the district must be unified on several levels, but again, what works in your school may not work in my school. And from year to year, our cohorts change. And so our leadership has to be able to recognize who their constituents are. They're the consumers. We work for them. And we need to know them as our constituents and not try to browbeat them into doing things our way. There may be other ways, and we need to be open to that kind of exploration.
What freedom do you think stakeholders should have?
Stakeholders are actually our customers. Stakeholders should be visible in the building. We should have open, transparent relationships with them. The community should feel that the school is theirs, not ours. And you're a visitor. No, it's theirs. I'm the visitor.
Okay. So how can I reach you again and even support you?
Area code 314-381-8076. And our website should be up within a few days.
Okay. But in the meantime, you are a candidate for the elected school board for the city of St. Louis.
Yes, I am.
And this is going to be new to you as an elected official.
Yes.
But you certainly have many, many dreams and aspirations. I can certainly tell that. So your love for the children, was that innate in you? Did you grow up with that, or did you, after you came into this district, form a better bond with the children?
It was innate.
Was it? Mm-hmm.
I've always been, first and foremost, an educator.
Mm-hmm.
I've always lived and worked for learners. I'm not going to say children, learners, because learners come in all ages.
This is wonderful. Our guest is Dr. Barbara Anderson. She's a candidate for the elected school board, City of St. Louis, on April the 1st. And we're here at the New Life Evangelistic Center, 2428 Woodson Road in Overland, Missouri. 63114, just in case you wanted to GPS us. But the facility downtown, 1411 Locust Street, Bill Maddock, Dr. Larry Rice, Reverend, all the administrators here at New Life Evangelistic Center are trying to get the building reopened. But the services that were provided down at 1411 Locust Street are now provided here. Shelter for the homeless, clothing, food, help with utility bills. But we need your help and support just to keep these programs going. Because, there was an assault on New Life Evangelistic Center. The city of St. Louis tried to close them down. They're still trying to prevent them from reopening. But your help and support, your investment in New Life Evangelistic Center will go a lot toward helping provide these programs that we're administrating here. Through Post Office Box 473, St. Louis, Missouri, 63166. You can help the programs to continue to function here at New Life, or online at www.newlifeevangelisticcenter. That's one word, newlifeevangelisticcenter.org. And MasterCard, Visa, American Express, Discover Card, it takes less than 2 minutes to invest, and all that is tax deductible. We need your help. We need your support. We need to continue to help those in need. Back with our guests after this.
You can help New Life Evangelistic Center break the cycle of homelessness by providing monies for Metrolink tickets. It's absolutely essential at this time. New Life Evangelistic Center is providing hundreds of Metrolink tickets every week to homeless people so they can get to their jobs, so they can get to their doctor appointments, so they can find a place to sleep at nights. Will you please share your much-needed tax-deductible gift with the New Life Evangelistic Center? Every $30 you provide enables New Life to get 10 of the Metrolink tickets. And you can send those gifts now to the New Life Evangelistic Center at P.O. Box 473, St. Louis, Missouri. That's 63166.
We'll be returning to our guests after this Black History Moment. Today's subject, Hosea Williams, an American civil rights leader and politician born January the 5th, 1926 in Opelousas, Georgia. A major figure in the struggle against segregation and served with Dr. Reverend Martin Luther King as organizer and advance man. He helped such demonstrations as the Bloody Sunday March in Selma, Alabama in 1965, during which marchers seeking voting rights for African Americans were tear gassed and brutally beaten. He became active in the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People, and in 1963 he joined King at the Southern Christian Leadership Conference, and by the following year he was helping run it. He traveled to numerous cities in the South, recruiting and organizing volunteers, teaching them the techniques of nonviolent demonstrations, leading them on marches, and otherwise paving the way for King and his associates, Andrew Young and Jesse Jackson. Hosea Williams, he died November 16th, 2000 in Atlanta, Georgia.
Now you can take NLEC TV anywhere as you put the NLEC TV app on your iPhone or mobile device. NLEC TV is an innovative TV station that's on the cutting edge of community service. When you tune in to NLEC TV, you'll discover a television station that has been operated by previously homeless individuals who have received broadcast training through New Life Evangelistic Center's unique on-the-job training program. On NLEC TV, you'll discover wholesome family, community, renewable energy, and inspirational programming. Those needing energy assistance, food, clothing, or freedom from the cycle of homelessness will find that plus much more on NLEC TV. Now, you can receive NLEC TV by going to 24.2 on your television set or putting the NLEC TV app on your iPhone or mobile device. For further information, call 314-436-2424 or go to nlecstl.org. That's nlecstl.org.
And welcome back. My guest is Dr. Barbara Anderson. She's a candidate for the school district, the elected school board, City of St. Louis. And she's a former principal, retired principal, Dr. Barbara Anderson. Dr. Anderson, a lot of people around the district know you, people not only in St. Louis district, but around the metropolitan area. So you have a pretty good reputation.
Well, that's nice to hear.
Stellar reputation, actually.
Well, that's wonderful to hear, but Lord knows I've been around for a while.
So your motivation is still for the children, that's it?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Tell us about why do you want to be elected to the board?
The first thing I want to do is I want to get rid of the stigma of going to a neighborhood school. Okay. I want to get rid of that. Mm-hmm. I want to make sure that we're serving our population properly. Too often we put our children in these quote-unquote special needs labels. I want to get rid of that. Not completely, of course. There are some children who have actual special needs.
Sure.
But I think that we over-label them. I think that we need to spend more time working with our children, realizing that not all children learn the same way or at the same pace. Okay. And we need our educators to be able to make those kinds of educational decisions that say, I can't be on page 137 on March 15th, but I will get to that material. That's one thing I want to work on. The other thing I want to work on is our dependence on one-shot measurements. There have been times when I've talked to former colleagues, current colleagues, that they say, I spend more time testing than I do teaching. That must stop.
Okay. While we were talking during the break, you pointed to a lot of points, perhaps. Any of those I didn't hit upon that you want to comment on?
Actually, you hit pretty much all of them. We were visited by Arnie Duncan, Secretary of Education at that time.
You were, okay. Yeah.
Randy Weingarten, National AFT President, and I mentioned those two.
Federation of Teachers.
Yes. Mm-hmm. I mentioned those two because they came to recognize our school for our ability to work with the union. We didn't get complaints to the union at our school because we worked with the union. If there was a staff member who needed assistance, we didn't write them up. We just called and said, can you come over? Can you have a little talk with this person or that person?
A personal touch, yeah.
Personal touch and collaboration.
That's beautiful.
And you must be collaborative. You must be collegial. Other than that, you're in the wrong profession.
Before we run out of time, once again, how can they help you? How can they reach you, and why?
You're going to reach me because I'm passionate about your children. I've been in their shoes. I've been in this district. I know what it looks like on the grassroots level. I know. I've been there. And you can reach me right now at 314-381-8076.
Say that again so they can write it down in case they need to.
Area code 314-381-8076.
That's great.
Please feel free to leave a message.
Okay, and the election is April the 1st.
April the 2nd.
April the 2nd. Okay, April 1st is April Fool's Day, so this is the day after April Fool's Day.
Yes.
Okay. Dr. Anderson, it's so good seeing you, and I just want to say thank you so much for taking time to come by and visit with us here at New Life.
Thank you.
You have a great day, and good luck to you in your election. And don't forget to support the New Life Evangelistic Center. I'm Bernie Hayes. Have a great day, and I want to thank all of you for all the help and support that you've given, not only me, but New Life, Reverend Larry Rice, and everybody here. So continue to support us. We're 2428 Woodson Road in Overland, Missouri. Our zip code is 63114. Come by and visit us. Have a great day.